Dodgers and Brewers, maybe the game and series of the weekend going to take center stage, also late night. So we do have a little late night baseball, Tom, but we've had, I don't know if it's still going on. We had a no-hitter in progress with the Nats and the Cubs. I believe Cavalli was just throwing a gem. He looks like gave up one hit in the top of the seventh, but the Nats are up 6-0. So much for that. But yeah, that was 6 innings of no-hit ball is pretty impressive from Cavalli there against a pretty good hitting Cubs team. That's for sure.
It certainly is. We've seen some crazy games to start the MLB slate today. We saw a ton of runs in the Yankees-Mariners last night, 1-run game today. We saw a massive blowout for the Pirates over the Marlins. We saw the Cubs score all the runs yesterday, and then, as you said, they got no hit through 5 or 6 or whatever it was. And they're down 6-0 to this point. Phillies Twins is fun because it's a game at a unique field, which we often see throughout the years from MLB, whether they're playing overseas, they're playing in Mexico City where the elevation's super high, they're playing in the middle of a cornfield. We saw a ton of home runs if we remember back to when the Yankees played the White Sox there years ago. And then we saw very few runs when the Reds played, I think it was the White Sox again, if I remember correctly. Now we got 2 teams, and more importantly, we've got a gas can on the mound of Aaron Nola for the Phillies, Taj Bradley for the Twins. But we also have a full slate of preseason football. Week 1 is officially here. Teams are, having position battles being fought for. We're going to get our first exposure to some real NFL football, excluding the Hall of Fame game from last week.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night because a lot of people did not dabble into the Hall of Fame game, which, if we're being honest, Tom's going to be a hard act to follow, given the fact that the Panthers and the Cardinals played to a 33-30 game that nobody saw coming. It should also be noted, by the way, Carson Beck with a rib injury will not be playing here tonight in the Cardinals' second preseason game, but that's okay because they do have actually a starting quarterback and a backup quarterback that at some point are going to have to get reps. In fact, all of Arizona's starters expected to go a lot here, at least in the first quarter in their game tonight. Also, got some terrible news earlier today. Hunter Green is having a second Tommy John surgery, Tom. He's going to miss all of next year as well. How long was he back this year? I mean, it couldn't have been, 2 months?
Not even that long. I'm not even sure
Wow.
Because we got to remember, he didn't start until I think late June was his first start.
Right.
And then we got, the All-Star break, so just took some time off. He announced he's having Tommy John again, which means he's going to miss all of next year because, we talk about a year recovery time. A year recovery time puts him to Labor Day of 2027. And at that point, there's no reasonable way that the Reds could ramp him back up and then get him into MLB action when he really should be one of the cornerstones of your franchise, along with Chase Burns, who just got the extension, Ellie De La Cruz, and Sal Stewart. Those should be the cornerstones of your franchise. If anyone were to get hurt, you shouldn't rush anyone back.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate, man. I mean, the guy throwing triple digits and just, not good there for the Reds. But news for the Reds is they did, after getting embarrassed by the White Sox last night in shutout, they did bounce back with a 9-run effort earlier today. 9-8, though, they had to hold on by the hair on their chinny chin chin to get that one done. The Yankees and the Mariners, stop me if you've heard this one, Tom, played to a, 1 run? Oh, yeah, 1 total run in that one. Crazy. Yankees got shut out. Pretty good pitchers battle there between Logan Gilbert, though, and Max Fried. And I guess the Red Sox have figured out, also not good news, Whitlock, I think, on the IL. We learned that, so the bullpen takes a little bit of a hit. But I guess if they're playing against Max Scherzer, it's one surefire way for them to be able to win a game, which they did. They didn't get swept by the Blue Jays today, but not good news with Whitlock going on the IL either.
No, some ups and downs for the Red Sox. A lot of people expecting them to bounce back. Peyton Tolley was great for the Sox today. They got the offense going. And, when you look at it, a 5-game losing streak, yeah, it doesn't look good optically, but they're what? They're still 32-12 over their last, 44 games, whatever it's going to come out to. So it all evens out.
Yep.
As we know, it's baseball. It's a long season. They can go on these 10, 12 game win streaks and 14 game win streaks. You're also going to lose 5 in a row. But when you look at it, like, hey, we're 14-5 over our last 19 games. That's still pretty good. Most teams would take that, especially at this point in the season. The Brewers-Dodgers game, as you alluded to, is actually really fun because we're looking at 2 postseason bound teams, and people are penciling them in for a collision course in the postseason. But the Brewers, coming off of some tough losses, Roki Sasaki on the mound for the Dodgers is just not a pitcher that I trust. And when we talk about the Dodgers getting Skubal, you're saying, oh, what would the rotation be? You're like, oh, it could be Yamamoto and Skubal and maybe Ohtani and Glasnow and Snell. You realize that Sasaki is left off of that list because he's just not the pitcher of the same quality as those. So if there's any chance for the Brewers to bounce back, they got to get some runs against Sasaki.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get that done. They also, talk about collision, almost lost Freddie Freeman. Play in the dugout, I don't know how he didn't crack his head open. I really don't. That was kind of crazy last night. They did take him out, I think, for pinch runner or a pinch hitter somewhere in the 8th inning. Not a word. I don't know, Tom, whether, the Red Sox pulled this. We'll wait until 5 minutes before first pitch before releasing the starting lineup. I doubt very much he's going tonight. Looked like precautionary, but again, even if they don't, the Dodgers still one of the 5 best against left-handed pitching, especially over the last couple of weeks. And Drohan, we have no idea which version of him shows up because there is a version that gives up a lot of hard contact here, but that when he went into that Royals dugout, I was like, oh no. Like I don't know how he stayed up. I really don't. Looked like he was it could have been disaster and season over there in that spot.
It really could. I'm seeing Freddie Freeman in the lineup tonight. And he's in the lineup and he's batting cleanup for them. And last night, the message was day-to-day with total body soreness, which was the Dave Roberts quote for the Dodgers that I saw last night and into the morning. But he's in the lineup today. He's apparently good to go. It's a normal lineup for them with Ohtani leading off and Pages, Edman, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Rose, Tucker. Like, this is an extremely normal lineup for the Dodgers. So apparently Freddie Freeman's good to go. And, they also haven't been hitting the ball that well as of late. The Dodgers, this is over the last 2-3 weeks. We look like they've been okay. I know they can kind of withstand some ups and downs because they had a 12-game lead in the NL West, but they also kind of need to right the ship and get things going into the end of the season and end it on a high note. And the Brewers also desperately need to pick up some wins because they could be looking at a loss in the series, which means they've lost 5 out of 6, and the Cubs are red hot right behind them.
Yep. Yeah, they're going to have some work to do here, needless to say. But still got some good games coming up on the slate here tonight in Major League Baseball. But we're all getting ready for the Phillies and Twins. And wouldn't you know it, the Twins got to activate Buxton here for this Field of Dreams game. So it looks like he's going to be back in the lineup for him. Kudos to the Minnesota Twins. We'll see if Byron Buxton can actually stay healthy long enough to remain off the IL for their run towards a possible playoff. So lots still to be determined here in Major League Baseball. Plenty of preseason football coming up as Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid. All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we get you guys set up here for a great night of Major League Baseball. Field of Dreams game coming up between the Phillies and the Twins. Some late-night baseball. Jacob deGrom on the mound tonight for the Rangers. Urena going for the Angels. First 1 to 2 runs, likely winning that game. And, of course, Dodgers-Brewers. Maybe a give you a little taste, a little preview of what a possible National League pennant might look like there when it comes down to it. But plenty else going on, including NFL preseason football. Tonight is the night. And I got to tell you, looking at some of these matchups here, and you look at some of the line movement, Tom, that we have gotten. Start with the Bengals and the Lions. I mean, the Bengals line has moved, 6-7 points since it first opened. And when you dive into what's going on with the Bengals, you're going, oh, I see. So the Bengals are going to try and break the habit of being 0-4 by the time we get to October. Well, how are they going to do that? Well, they're playing Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. They're playing all the starters for at least the first quarter here tonight. And then they're going to give way to Joe Flacco and company here. Meanwhile, you got the Lions. Jared Goff has not taken a snap in a preseason game, I think, since 2022. So the likelihood of you seeing any of that not going to happen. In fact, Dan Campbell has already said you're probably not likely going to see anybody in this point, especially with some of the injuries to the offensive line they just have. So we've got a classic case in this game right off the bat. Huge line movement. The Bengals making it known we're taking the preseason seriously. A lot of guys going to be taking more than just the first series. And you got Detroit going, yeah, we'll see you week 1 here. Still don't know that I'm running a window to lay 6, but I get it. I know why the market loves the Bengals in this spot.
Right, and I would say that when you look down the QB depth, which I know is a good starting point for a lot of people, Joe Flacco, all right, he's not the quarterback he once was, but at least he has it. After that, it's Josh Johnson, who's been around for a while. The Lions, I believe they're going to be starting Luke Altmaier, and Joshua Dobbs is also on the roster. And Dobbs hasn't been there too long. He's been around obviously more than Luke Altmaier, so he has quote unquote more experience. He's a veteran, if you want to call it that. But what are we actually dealing with a banged up team when we're having Joe Burrow and the starters play versus the Lions backups essentially? So again, to your point, the line movement is what it is. We all understand that, but should we be running to lay 6.5? In that, could you look to a first half line potentially, but a full game line's a little bit different. You got to remember, players are still trying to make the roster. It's not just like all said and done, like, oh, we know everything's still. There's still defensive players out there trying because they want a contract, they want to make the roster. That is important for all of these preseason games.
Yes, it is. And again, my rule of thumb with a lot of these preseason games is find the quarterback matchups here, and you will find no bigger matchup right now than Anthony Richardson versus Riley Leonard for the backup spot of the Colts. And we know Anthony Richardson's starting. We know Riley Leonard is going to be right behind him. Both of these guys really, quite honestly, are showcasing their stuff. I think Easton Stick is also somewhere in the mix there, and he's gotten plenty of snaps under center as an NFL backup. So, yeah, we're going to see on the other side, though, where Tommy DeVito versus Baron Morton. Yeah, no starters for New England, no nothing. It's not hard to figure out why. Again, we've seen a ton of money coming towards the Colts, but it's a quarterback battle that's going to be interesting because either Anthony Richardson is going to be the backup or he's going to be likely wearing a different uniform. But either way, they got to showcase him, and he's got to show he can actually play the position here tonight.
Right, and positional battles matter. And it starts out with the quarterback. They are trying to win a job. It's not the starting job, but trying to win the backup job is important because that third quarterback is always likely to be cut, likely to be on the practice squad or the emergency QB3. They can be interchanged essentially by another emergency QB3. A team can sign off the practice squad. Or to your point with Anthony Richardson, he could be traded. As we know, there's already a trade request out there. So I like looking, as you were saying, to teams that have multiple players fighting for an important role. We also see that with the Steelers coming up. Mason Rudolph
Mm,
is up. He's been there for years. He's been a starter for a couple games here and there. He's been in the league. But Drew Allard is actually fighting for the third QB role, which could
yeah.
be important. There's some rumors out there that the Steelers may look to carry 4 QBs, which I don't think is going to happen. But fighting to get into that backup spot or third QB spot is also important for a lot of players.
Yeah, it is. And you're going to, just listen to the coaches, right? The coaches will tell you everything. Arizona tonight, we told you Carson Beck, rib injury, will not be playing, but that's okay because their actual starters are playing the entire first quarter, according to the Cardinals. So the Raiders, we're going to get to see, actually, they say all 3 quarterbacks on the roster, which includes, of course, number 1 pick Mendoza. We're going to get a look at him. We're also going to see Aiden O'Connell here tonight. So the quarterback play in this game, there's a reason why. What do we got for a total? 42 and a half in a preseason game? That's why, because all the quarterbacks taking the field tonight have all have NFL experience, and a bunch of them are going to be playing against the third stringers at some point in the second half there.
Right, and you look at it, like, okay, a game's at 38, another one's at 41. Oh, it's a 3-point difference. In the preseason, that is dramatic.
Huge.
Yeah, again, what we saw in the Hall of Fame game, 63 points in that should not be the bar moving forward. It should not be the bar this week. It should not be in the bar in any game. Mid-30s to low 40s is what we should be seeing. I'm seeing a 41.5 for this game at FanDuel right now. So, 41s, 42s, whatever it might be for this game. Good quarterback play or good enough quarterback play on both sides. Gardner Minshew on the Cardinal side, he has NFL experience. Same thing with Aiden O'Connell, as you said. There are position battles for depth receivers for the Raiders. Jack Besh was a rookie last year. He's going to get some run for the Cardinals. So, again, we actually have some amount of talent on both sides, which should enable a decent level of scoring.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some scoring. And I'll tell you what, even if you don't want to bet the over pre-flop, give it a couple minutes in the game. If it's a low-scoring first quarter, Ty, you're going to be able to get a much better number in-game. But the points are coming in this game. Don't forget, you got 2 new coaches looking to also put their mark here on the league. So much more coming your way. NFL preseason football continues on Game Time Decisions on the Grid. All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio. And, of course, coming up, we've got plenty of NFL preseason football, some great matchups, and really matchups from the standpoint of opportunities for some edges to be had, because the battles continue in a lot of these teams, a lot of organizations, and there's still a lot to be decided for them, and this is just week one of the preseason. We've got also a Field of Dreams game coming up here in Major League Baseball. They're doing this again, just the third one, I think, that they have done. The first two, if the weather cooperates, Tom, I mean, that's the big question to me in this game. There has been, a lot of rain in the Midwest where they've got this. There is some rain in the forecast here tonight, not forever, but if you get an hour rain delay, all of a sudden Nola's out, then all of a sudden Taj Bradley's out, and then all of a sudden it's a bullpen game, and then I can't give you a lot of data because they've only played 2 games at this park, but it is in elevation. It is elevated. It's not Denver, but there is elevation in play here, and you got to think, we could get some home runs in this game, but I'm really worried about we got a 55-minute rain delay, and next thing you know, it's all bullpen arms rolling in.
Right. So I'm seeing it right now that the humidity is through the roof. 93, 90%, whatever. It's the corn sweat going on in the Midwest as it happens every summer. I would say if you are buying into there's going to be potential rain and you're worried about a rain delay, it does leave the opportunity for either that hour delay, a lot of unders on pitchers, right? Which is you take under on strikeouts for Nola, under on outs, under on this, under on that, just because, hey, he starts inning 2 in, all of a sudden he's sitting for an hour. Pitchers just don't come out after that. That's just how they operate. Listen, Nola could be pitching great, but if there's an hour rain delay, he's just not coming back out. That's just what MLB teams do. So you can buy into the rain and say, hey, I'm taking unders on it. You also could say, Nola's terrible. Like, Aaron Nola is not a good pitcher. He borderline shouldn't be on an MLB roster. I'm not there yet. But you taking the under on his outs, you have 2 paths to victory, essentially. We have a rain delay, or the Twins and the elevation and the humidity turns out to be great hitting weather. And he gives up 5 runs, and he gets pulled after 3 or 4 innings.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, too. I mean, I don't know what Aaron Nola's outs prop is, but I would imagine Taj Bradley, same thing. I mean, listen, they went out and spent a lot of money for the bullpen at the trade deadline to try to bolster it. Any rain delay, and Taj Bradley's been very good over the last month or so, Tom. I mean, he's been really, really good. The only thing that gives him issues are left-handed hitters, and the Phillies have a couple of pretty good ones. Not that they've been crushing the ball lately, but, any sort of situation where, let's put the tarp on the field or any. Yeah, I don't know what the outs prop are, but that might be a great call. Both Taj Bradley and Aaron Nola under their outs prop here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it listed on DK. It's 17.5 for Bradley. Minus 128 to the over, minus 104 to the under. It's 16.5 for Nola, 125 to the under, 106 to the over. So if you think Taj Bradley is going to make it a full 6 innings, I think that's a bit much. And to your point, he's been good. They went and got bullpen arms, but there's a couple factors, the stadium, the weather, the rain. That's where the issues could arise for him. 17.5 seems a tad too high.
I agree. But listen, Twins been playing some decent baseball. Phillies, not so much. When you lose your last couple of games with Sanchez and Wheeler on the mound.
That is certainly an issue for the Phillies, and they have been struggling on offense. So again, 7:30 start for the Field of Dreams game. Be cautious of the rain delay if you're betting that in any capacity. We got that game going on. We have the Rangers and the Angels. I have a play in that game. I'm not looking to back Jacob deGrom in any capacity. He has not been going deep in the game. So we just talked about a pitcher out prop. I do have a pitcher out prop for deGrom, which, spoiler, I'm taking the under. Brewers-Dodgers coming up a little bit later. And then we have a full slate of NFL preseason. And we've been talking through that. The position battles for all of those teams is very, very important. What you're looking to back or how you're looking to back certain teams, a first quarter prop, a first half prop, whatever it might be. We're going to get into all of that. We have 6 games on tonight's slate. We have 3 tomorrow. Quarterback battles abound. We will cover all of that, Joe.
Yeah, I saw an article earlier today. I could not believe it. Has Jacob deGrom never won a game at Anaheim? Is that even possible that he has not won a game ever in his career pitching at Angel Stadium? That is crazy. I thought that was nuts, but I'm looking and I still haven't found one here. We'll double check on that as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid. All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we're getting you guys ready for what should be a huge night in football action as we got preseason going on. We got Major League Baseball Field of Dreams game coming up just after the top of the hour. But we did just tell you that we were having a hard time. I read the article and I thought it said that Jacob deGrom, who's pitching for Texas tonight, has never won at Angel Stadium. And sure enough, Tom, he never has. He's 0-4 in his career pitching at Angel Stadium. He's got nearly an 8 ERA. He already lost back in late May against the Angels this season here. They tattooed him. I think, what did he get, 6 runs in 3 innings that he pitched. So he has not had success, but neither is Texas hitting the ball lately, which is kind of head-scratching. The quality of pitchers the Rangers have faced from the Angels the last 2 nights, and the fact that they can barely score is not a good sign for Jacob deGrom to get, run support here tonight. You don't think he's going to last long at all, period, in this game tonight?
No, 17.5 out prop for deGrom is a bit too much. He has not gone past 5 innings, not just 6 innings. He hasn't even gone past 5 innings since the end of June. And you would think, okay, the Rangers are struggling. You know, they need to right the ship. They need to get things going. This would be the time for them to be like, all right, deGrom, you got to be the guy. You got to be our guy. You got to be out there, do your thing. But I believe that the Rangers and what they've shown from us over the past few years, like there's clearly a plan for them to have DeGrom healthy for the entire season. Because if they're this mediocre right now, they're probably going to be this mediocre in a month from now, and you can't burn DeGrom out essentially. Like you can't burn him out when you're going to need him in a month and 6 weeks from now. So I'm just taking the unders on DeGrom. And if he gets there, so be it. But the offense has not been there for him to like instill the confidence in the Rangers that he should stay in the game. And they have a decent enough bullpen, and it's not a difficult opponent that the bullpen can't handle the Angels.
Yep. Well, and listen, the Angels bullpen is not good either, which is amazing to me. But the thing with the Angels is, except for I think last night they scored 5 runs, 5-2 they won.
Yes.
They had gone prior to last night 16 straight games of not scoring more than 4 runs. I mean, that is, you want to talk about ineptitude. And listen, I mean, it's not like the top half of that order aren't guys that you know, right? I mean, you know, Trout finally had a pretty good night there. And yes, they ended up, they scored 5 runs. Congrats. But they went 16 straight games not being able to score more than 4 runs. And Texas is not helping the situation either because they've got their own set of issues here. I mean, Seager had a home run. Congrats, but he's hitting a $167. Go up and down this lineup of Texas. You want to talk about woefully underperforming the Texas Rangers lineup. Now they're a game under 500. Yeah, they got to get this game here tonight, especially with DeGrom on the mound.
They really do, and they're just a 500 team. They were 24 and 24. They ended up 25 and 25. Like that's what they are. They've lost a couple. They can win one to get back to 500. I think it's as simple as that. The talent or the perceived talent that the Rangers have on offense should be shining. You know, Jock Peterson, he's a veteran. We know that's him with Corey Seager, but Wyatt Langford, Brandon Nimmo's been solid. Ezekiel Duran, Evan Carter, Jake Berger, like those guys should be stepping up. And granted, Walbert Urena for the Angels, he's been pretty solid. Like he hasn't been terrible. But if you can just get enough runs across, I think 3, maybe 4 should be enough for the Rangers. But I think that might be even stretching it to ask that much.
I mean, why am I betting it over in this game? I just don't. No. I'm not doing it there at all. By the way, they just wrapped up. I believe the Cubs got shut out, nearly no hit. Yeah. I think it was, I don't know, did they get another hit? It was a 1 hit that they closed it out.
Yeah.
The Valley was fantastic. Wow. 1 hit.
And he was
7-0.
He was perfect through 5.2, I think it was. Or 5.2 or 6,
really?
6.2, whatever it was. So he was perfect. And then the 1 walk and then a double plays to get out of the inning.
Wow. That's impressive stuff there for the Nats still battling. Cubs, not so much. But a lot of lower scoring games here today. We saw Detroit bounce back, this was a pretty good one too, but you weren't sure what you were going to get from Montero and well, you got a shutout is what you got because the Guardians went from scoring 6 runs last night to scoring 0 today. And they
see the stat about
a much worse pitcher. What happened?
Did you see the stat about this game? It was the first game since the Tigers as a team, 0 strikeouts. They didn't strike out a Guardians batter add up. So Montero went 6.1, no strikeouts. The 2 relievers came in, no strikeouts for either of them. It was the first time since I think it was 2014 or something or 2022 that a team won via shutout with 0 strikeouts.
Wow.
So if you bet unders on Montero, you were cruising the whole game just because he goes 6.1, doesn't strike out anyone, pitching to contact.
Yep.
But I will say, there are times where pitchers like Montero, when he's on the good side of BABIP, it turns like this. And when he's on the bad side, we got single, double walk, and all of a sudden the opposing team has scored 3 runs.
Yeah, and just like that, right? And, it's that Guardians lineup is just so poor. It's not even funny. A couple of shutouts here today on the Major League Baseball card. The Marlins should have been shut out. They scored like an empty netter, I think, in the 9th inning. They got a run. But I think Ashcraft went a full 9, too. All of those relievers the Pirates went out and got, they didn't use any of them today. 9 innings, just 3 hits. And I think he had double-digit strikeouts, too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. We had great performance from him, Montero, Cade Cavalli, and Peyton Tolley. We had 4 pitchers that all went 7+, 8+ innings, very few hits and a lot of strikeouts. It was a big pitching performance. And this is what happens on a lot of getaway days. It's Thursday, it's a smaller slate, it's an off day. Teams will be traveling. Sometimes you get a extra rest day for a star player or two, and all of a sudden those lineups are just a little bit watered down. And we're not talking about the best quality teams to begin with. We're talking about Cleveland and the Blue Jays and the Marlins.
Yeah, no, it's. I think the Yankees were just exhausted from running around the bases last night that they couldn't get it together. Max Fried pitched well. Logan Gilbert pitched well, but neither of those two teams really would I ever consider backing overs anytime soon here. So that's just not going to happen. And you got to get ready for what's supposed to be the series of the weekend coming up tonight. Dodgers at home taking on the Brewers, but the Brewers offensively, they've kind of run into a wall. And you know what, Tom? The home run ball is not going to save this team, and there lies the problem with the Milwaukee Brewers. You can get away from not being able to manufacture runs the good old-fashioned way, right? If you got some power hitters that, all right, a couple of walks, and next thing you know, it's 3-0 because I got guys that can hit them. They don't have those guys, and that's a problem, and I think that's going to be a problem in this series as well here, Tom.
It is, and when you have a pitcher like Shane Drouin going, he doesn't inspire a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to shut down a Dodgers lineup. And granted, the Dodgers lineup, as we talked about, hasn't been amazing, but Drouin's got a 3.87 ERA, which doesn't seem that bad. It's from a sub 100 inning sample size. He only has 93.1 innings pitched. He was a reliever earlier in the year, turned into a starter. So 3.87, okay, it's not that bad, but his recent results once he's been out there for a higher volume of innings, 6 earned versus the Twins, which is terrible. He gave up 2 versus the Angels. Okay, but it's the Angels. 5 versus Colorado. In Milwaukee, he gave up 3 versus Miami, 3 versus Pittsburgh, and only 1 versus the Cards. It hasn't been a great stretch for me. It's been okay, but he doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence for me.
No, and how can he, right? With that, I think the Dodgers, and we know Freeman is in that lineup here. Sasaki, over the last month, has been phenomenal. Not exactly a guy, I think, unless he walks 4 or 5 guys again and he loses control of the plate. I don't see Sasaki is not a guy. He is in some of the best form we have seen him in over the last month. Hits are going to be hard to come by here tonight for the Brewers. That's for sure. They won't be hard to come by in the NFL because we got more preseason talk coming your way Thursday night, preseason week 1 here on GameTime. All right, welcome back in. Here we go. Game time decisions on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we are getting you ready for some Field of Dreams. That's right, Phillies and the Twins coming up in just about a little less than an hour now, 7:30. The Phillies and Twins will be in Iowa there, getting ready to go. Aaron Nola against Taj Bradley. You got the Rangers, Angels, as well as the Brewers and Dodgers. Those are still games coming up here today in Major League Baseball, but we do have some NFL games coming up. That's right. It is preseason football here time tonight. Another game time that I'm interested in here tonight is going to be, and there is no way under any circumstances that I would look at an over in this game, and that's with Houston tonight taking on the Chargers. Interesting. No Justin Herbert tonight. We are going to see Davis Mills, I believe, for a little bit, which is, another one of these spots here where we're going to get a quarterback that's got, he's got some experience here. But, you go down the list of the rest of the quarterbacks coming in, and yikes, where exactly are the points coming tonight in this one here? It's a low total. It's low for a reason. And this is one of those games where, yes, I could see an under. And this could be like watching paint dry with these two teams.
It really could be for the Chargers. Now, a lot of people still want Trey Lance to be a thing. They still want him to be solid. After Davis Mills on the Houston side of things, Graham Mertz should be coming in. That's going to be interesting. We know for yes, Harbaugh has, for the Chargers at least, Harbaugh has listed 15 of the veterans and starters that won't play tonight. Herbert, McConkey, Johnston, Hampton, none of those guys are going to be playing. The tight ends, we're not sure what we're going to be getting from them. That's at least somewhat competent of offense, but do we trust Trey Lance and DJ Ugalele, who's their third string quarterback? Do we trust them to get us points tonight against a decent to great Houston defense, even if it's going to be some of their backups?
There's a reason why D'Amico Ryans, I believe, 9-1 to the under in preseason. Like, defense is a philosophy, right? It's who this team is, period. Now, listen, Davis Mills will go out there for a quarter or so. I mean, I think he's entrenched as the backup here. The rest is kind of just, right? The rest is just kind of, take it as it goes here. But I expect you. And the Chargers, too. Listen, I think the Chargers got a little something to prove here also defensively. Both of these teams scream run first. I think that's exactly what we're going to see tonight from them. Wouldn't shock me. And I'm not running to the window to back and over, I think, with the 49ers and the Titans tonight either. Robert Saleh, his former employer there, right? Shanahan, where he was the DC, in between going to the Jets and being set up to fail. Mac Jones, do we know what his status is? I don't think he's playing.
No, he shouldn't be. But it really comes down to the fact that the 49ers are dealing with a million injuries. They have 14 guys or whatever it was that wasn't playing. Their offense is a complete mess. There's just not enough talent on offense for them to score points. I really think that's the case. We're not going to see Mike Evans. We're not going to see Debo. We know that Ricky Pearsall is done for the season. It's going to come down to Dejon Stribling, who was the 33rd overall pick, the first in the second round, and then Demarcus Robinson that we're going to be seeing on offense. I just don't know if and Jake Tonjes, the backup tight end, because we know that Kittle's working his way back from the Achilles injury. I don't know if there's enough talent on offense to score any points.
Curtis Rourke and Adrian Martinez will be your quarterbacks for the 49ers tonight. I just want that to sink in for you. Now, on the flip side, I think Tennessee is very young. And, giving young guys an opportunity to get reps, especially it's going to be, prime time out west there. Cam Ward entering his, second year? Everyone says he's come in the best shape of his life. Apparently he took the offseason very seriously this year, really looking to take that next step. Salah's a defensive guy, but then Mitch Trubisky, Will Levis, and Hendon Hooker.
Not bad.
The quarterback play, the experience, and the the mobile quarterback. You got Will Levis and Hendon Hooker are guys that are going to be running around in the third and fourth quarter that are going to be. Look at what Haynes King did, right? There was a reason why Carolina was successful in the second half with these mobile quarterbacks. I mean, what are you going to get from Will Levis? That's going to be interesting, but clearly an advantage for Tennessee, who's likely playing Cam Ward and the starters for at least a quarter. And again, Robert Saleh going up against his former boss, he's going to want to stick it right there. And if I'm Shanahan, I'm just praying, get us out of here with nobody else hurt. That's it.
Is Shanahan even on the sideline? Do we know if he's even going to be on the sideline today?
It's so
that's
true.
What I know.
You're
but
right.
I said this yesterday about Saleh and really just a general comment overall. It's like when a new coach is in a new spot, regardless of him going up against his former team, I think he wants to turn the page and start a new chapter for the franchise. It's about setting a tone, instilling a culture. And they're saying, listen, we may not be great, but we're going to work towards it, and we're going to put in effort. So you give me Mitch Trubisky, who's probably the locked-in starter for number 2, the same thing that we had with Mills for Houston. He'll be the number 2. Trubisky's going to be there. But Will Levis and Hendon Hooker battling it out to be the 3. They drafted Nick Singleton. They drafted Carnell Tate. We're going to get enough offense, whether it's going to be – I don't think Calvin Ridley or Wan'Dale Robinson are going to play, but Chimere Dike and Alec Ioman are the 2 young guys from last year will step up. Gunnar Helm is also an emerging tight end for them. Like, there's enough offensive talent on Tennessee that they should be at least trying to instill a new culture in the franchise.
And listen, Saleh's a defensive guy, so he's going to bring it tonight, and he's going to make sure the defense shows up and shows out here. So, I like Tennessee. I certainly like the under in this spot tonight. And we won't see Mac Jones or Purdy for a little while, but plenty more football coming up here. Can you believe it? We got week 1 of the preseason almost upon us. Field of Dreams is coming up. Dodgers, Brewers, a preview of what the National League playoffs could look like, which is, I think, also going to be extremely interesting this weekend. Brewers, could they be coming down a little bit? Well, no. We'll let you know everything you need to do before first pitch as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid. All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we look to close out this edition with you. Get you ready, of course, for some preseason football. Still got 3 Major League Baseball games coming your way. In-game live game day straight ahead. Kevin Walsh, Gabe Morency will pass the baton to them. They'll have you covered. We've got another interesting game in the preseason, game number 1, with the Steelers, who are hosting Green Bay. Now, listen, the headlines speak for themselves, right? I mean, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers' former team that is coming to Pitt. Would have been great if this was actually in Green Bay, but it's in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers says it's past his bedtime. He's not playing. But when you compare these two teams, because LaFleur's already said the starters are in for the first quarter. So this is another one of those where Jordan Love and company are coming in. The starters are going to be there for the first. But after that, it gets very interesting. You're not going to have Aaron Rodgers, so you're going to have Mason Rudolph, I'm guessing, right, who's the backup. And then you got Will Howard, and then you got, who else is coming in on this run? Will Howard, Drew Allar, I guess, is also another quarterback. None of those guys scream second half like they're going to be running up and down the field scoring points against anybody. No. What about you?
No. And is this just a spot where we just trust a little bit more of skill and talent on Green Bay? For Green Bay, Josh Jacobs and Chris Brooks, their 2 running backs, have been dealing with injuries, so it should be mostly Marshawn Lloyd and Pierre Strong, who both have some NFL experience. After Love, it's Tyrod Taylor, Kyle McCord, and Kyron Drones. McCord was a draft pick this past year. Kyron Drones was UDFA. Listen, there's a little bit of talent on the Packers side, and it's a bit more on Pittsburgh. Like, do we really need to see DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman out there? Are they going to be pushing those guys out there for that long? Absolutely not. Jalen Warren and Rico Dowdle, the latter who they signed in the offseason. Caleb Johnson is interesting for Pittsburgh because he was a high draft pick last year. And, him trying to cement himself as that RB3, I think, is going to be interesting, along with Bernard, the wide receiver that they drafted. So there's a little bit of talent on Pittsburgh, but I think Green Bay is the side that I would back if I was forced to make a pick.
Yeah, well, if you're playing, again, they've already said Love is playing at least the first quarter. That means Tyrod Taylor likely replacing him. Kyle McCord, also interesting, right? Because he's at some point going to take the other set of – what was he with Philadelphia last year? Is that what he was? I believe he was on Philadelphia last year. Now he's going to try and catch up here, I think, with Green Bay. But it's the rookie. It's Kyron Drones that I'm looking forward to see, former Va-Tech quarterback, who, if nothing else, is pretty elusive. He's a tough runner. I think come the fourth quarter, Green Bay is just going to be running all over the place with Kyron Drones at quarterback. McCord worries me because I didn't think he was that good to begin with. I still don't think he's that good. But I think if Kyron Drones gets the snaps in the end of the third, into the fourth, he might gain all sorts of yards on the ground and be running all over the place. I don't know what you're going to get from two pretty much statues that you're going to be under center in the second half for Pittsburgh. Neither of those guys are going to be mobile enough. Drew Allar and Will Howard are just going to be chucking it. No, at that point?
They probably would. And, again, it's pretty clear to say that Tyrod Taylor, the proven starter, NFL veteran, he's QB2 on the Packers. We know that. The guys fighting for the third string role is almost more important than Tyrod Taylor seeing an entire quarter, because if they're willing to go out there and sling it, that's where the points are going to be coming from. So, I think you said in Cardinals Raiders, wait a quarter, wait half a quarter if that total drops, and you can get in live in a little bit. I think the same thing can be said about Packers Steelers, because it's starting off 3-0 after the first quarter, and you get a low 30s number. Seems pretty good.
Yep, that's a good point. Yeah, I think much still to come there. In the second half, I think is going to be very entertaining compared to the first half in that game there. All right, so you got a full slate of preseason football coming up tonight, coming up tomorrow, of course, Saturday. We've got football back in our lives. But who do you like most here in the games coming up tonight, Major League Baseball in the late slate?
I think the Rangers right the ship. I really do. I don't love that price. I'm taking the under Grom on his outs. I said under 17 and a half. And I do like the Titans tonight.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers get it done. I think people are trying to be cute with Milwaukee, and I'm not buying it. I think the Dodgers get it done at home, and their bullpen is fresher. Extra inning loss again yesterday for the Brew. We were on air for that, Tom. Well, good news is in-game live game day is coming up. They've got you covered there. Kevin Walsh, Gabe Morency, Tom and I will see you again for more Game Time decisions. Enjoy.
Oh my goodness, what a night we have for you on In Game Live right here on SportsGrid, a bonus hour for the next 3 hours. We are with you, Kevin Walsh and Gabe Morency, focusing in on the NFL preseason slate. It is a big one. We will stop over in the WNBA. Alicia Gray, 2 made threes. Dream Sun, that game's coming up. We'll pop over to the Field of Dreams game as well between the Phillies and the Twins. But the focus is on the National Football League Week 1. Even though we've played a game of preseason football, it begins with the Bengals and the Lions